Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on March 9th, 2022 at approximately 8:37 a.m. PST. The world is changing, in case you hadn't noticed, and unfortunately, I got some bad news for a lot of people. There's all these wonderful rumors out there that God is going to come and straighten things out, that aliens are going to come here and sort out this world, that ancient races are going to resurface and make things better. Okay, the bad news here is this. No. Okay, if you believe in God, if you believe God created everything, then you fall under this problem. Okay, God gave you free will. Okay, God gave you whatever you call God. God gave you free will, irrevocable even by Him, which tells you right there God has limits. Okay, that being said, it also tells you that God will help those that help themselves. And He's not referring to thieves. He's referring to people that go, I desire this to happen, and I'm going to go and do the legwork. Now, if you believe in aliens, okay, you have another problem. Yes, aliens exist. There's no question there from my standpoint at all. It comes from practical experience. But they have a directive. They are not allowed. They are not permitted to come down and straighten this out. That is mankind's job. That is your job. If you believe in ancient races resurfacing to straighten this mess out, we have the same problem. If they could have straightened it out in the first place, they wouldn't be underground. Okay, and yeah, a lot of the ancient races still exist. Okay, they just don't exist where we can see them because, well, mankind still got this brilliant idea. If you're different skin color, there's a problem. Now, with all of this in mind, it falls back to you, it falls back to me. I'm no different than you are. Okay, well, that's not necessarily true. We all have our differences. Okay, so what we're looking at is this. The world is changing. It's the one constant, in reality is that change happens. Okay, the fact that things change is real. The fact that things mutate is an ongoing thing. This is why you cannot outrun. Nature itself, you're part of the food chain. You are part of the ongoing balance of nature. Now, if you're going to continue on the idea that you can do whatever you please and it have no impact, well, you're in for a bad shock. This said, I am seeing some very positive shifts happening where people are putting more effort into cooperating, into helping each other. Now, I did a post a couple of days ago about a severe loss that I ended up. But my brother, when he passed, left a very important message. Okay, he didn't write it down. It was something that he had done as he was hitting the end of his life without necessarily knowing he was hitting the end of his life. Okay, that is this. He planned for a future where he had another 10, 15 years to work with. Okay, but as he did, he was doing it in the here and now. You have the same issue. Whatever comes down the pike, it's only in the here and now that you can change things. Okay, to that end, I went out for the first time in a very long time. Okay, I went out the other day, and I decided, just because I desired it, I bought a brand new computer that I can use in place of paper and pen. Okay, for gaming, that's all I bought it for. Okay, now I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since 1976. Still the tabletop version. I did not get this computer to play online. Have I toyed with the idea on occasion? Yes, but what I decided was I was getting that. Well, I've already eliminated one binder of paperwork that was just for Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, and I won't have to use paper again because I bought this computer for that purpose. When you've got a goal in mind, take a look at the goal. Break it down into smaller sections. Okay. Where it comes to my office, I've been in here since, I think, about 4 o'clock this morning. I forgot to where did I put it? Must have taken it up front. Anyway, I've been in my office, so I've been on the go. My desk is pretty much covered in paperwork again. In this case, it's actually covered with an extra computer now instead. But you take a look at where your life is, ask yourself one question. Am I content with the way my life is going? Okay, now, I came to a conclusion quite some time back, and I wrote this funny little book here. Now, every one of the books that I talk about, because I've got a lot of information I work with, a lot of the information is already in booklet form. Others are being written in as we speak. Well, right this split second, not exactly. But this is one of the first booklets I put out. Okay. Believe in yourself and follow your dreams. This gives the backbone of the tools that I use to take my life and make it where I desire it to go. Very important in my eyes. Now, I've got a lot of other books. If you look below this video, you'll see a whole list of books that I've written. All of them are available directly through me. Okay. I do take PayPal. Okay, or direct transfer, like email transfer. Okay, before anybody asks, okay, those are the two methods I work with. And yeah, I'm a little stubborn. Okay, even when I got the email from a publisher over in Italy, I had a very definitive outlook on what I was looking at. Okay, I know exactly what I'm aiming at. For the first time in my life, I actually have peace of mind. I know where I'm standing, I know what I'm aiming for, and I got a pretty good idea of how to get it. Here's how you do the same thing. Okay. Now, you don't have to have your life all in order. Most people are somewhere a little younger than I am or around my age. Well, in all fairness, in my experience, the majority of people get to that point in life, get to the point in life where they didn't know what they desire to do when they're older. By the time they hit their mid-40s to early 50s. I was a late bloomer. I didn't figure it out until about 2 years ago, putting it close to, well, yeah, it was close to my mid-50s. I'm 50, I'll be 59 in a couple of months here. Okay, but I know exactly what I'm aiming for. Okay, I know exactly who I desire to grow a whole pile older with, because I've got no interest in shutting my life down anytime soon. Yeah, I'm definitely reclusive, and that's not likely to change anytime soon. But I know what's going on. And with that in mind, okay, the trick is to decide what you're not content with in your life. You don't have to know where you're heading. You have to know where you are. Now, I was talking to one young lad, and I told him this before. Well, 4 years later, really close to 6 years later, he comes to me and he says, I really wish I'd listened to what you had said. He says, you told me I didn't have to have my life in order. Right, that I had lots of time to sort that out. But he said the problem was that everybody else I spoke to, he says, everybody else told me I had to have my life in order. So I picked a path that would theoretically put my life in order, but he says, I'm not happy with it. And now I'm having to change it. And that is something you'll find as you go through life. Some things will catch your attention for a bit. Other things you'll be derailed from. Okay, or you'll just quit. I mean, I remember one young lad, he gone into university doing what he thought he was interested in. Got 3 years through a degree and stumbled across another career. 1 year before he completed his degree, he switched majors. Okay, now he had the brains. He could have got the degree. But he decided he was switching right then and there. He ended up making a career out of it. Okay, you may find the same thing, and when you've got a kid going into school, going into university, what I've had to tell a lot of people is don't worry about why they're going for the education. many people follow a girlfriend or a boyfriend into university. And that's not necessarily a great reason to go. But what I find more often than not is they get into the university, and then something catches their attention. Now they're in the university, and then they figure out what they desire to do in the way of an education. I bounced around a lot. Now, I didn't bounce around a lot in different jobs. Actually, in all fairness, I really didn't bounce that much. I was in the hospitality industry for decades. And then I finally gave up on it when my leg buckled on me completely. Right. So I went to the metaphysical field. The other thing I knew that I had a talent for. Didn't know what it was called. I just knew I understood it. And to my father's chagrin, I didn't fear it. Okay. So in school, I focused on business and English. Okay. Now, did I screw up a lot? Absolutely. Okay. But then I never claimed to be perfect. But if you've got a job or a goal or a dream that you desire to see come to fruition, do not give up on it. If you put it on hold because of whatever reason, many times people put on hold a job or a dream they've got because somebody else says you're not good enough. Okay, well, that funny little wood sign up here says it all, in my opinion. I am worth it. The 4 most powerful words in combination in any language I've come across, where it comes to rebuilding self-esteem, self-motivation, self-direction. It all boils down to you have to look at you and go, am I content? If there's something in your life you're not content with, this would be the time to really take a step back and go, okay, what am I going to change? What am I not content with? And how can I go about it? Now, I'm content with the path I'm on. My finances, I know what I'm doing with them. I've got a definitive plan. And I know I've got a chap coming over today that is going to try and talk me into starting to, enhance my business in a direction I'm not interested in. And I've already told him he's coming over anyway, but it gives me a reason to take a break from work. Okay. He's going to try and talk to me, but that's kind of like talking to a wall. I'm not interested. And that applies in certain cases when somebody is trying to get your attention, or when you're worried more to the point that somebody is trying to get your other half's attention. You got to realize many people will try it, but as long as you're stable in your relationship with your other half, then other people can desire her all they want, or him. It will not make a difference. They won't leave. One of the best relationships that I saw was it was a gentleman that literally was so big that, and this is not a joke, okay, but he was literally so big to get on an aircraft. He had like to take a flight. He had to pay for two seats. He just had to, and it was a genetic problem. But he had a girlfriend that would have fit in one of his pant legs. Okay, and he was really worried that she was going to leave him because every time he turned around, he'd see another guy talking to her. Right. Because she was a good looking little kid. Little. I mean, she was little as in physically. I don't know about the kid thing, other than the fact she clearly had a mother and a father somewhere. But everybody kept approaching her and everybody kept hitting on her. And this gentleman just could not believe that she was going to stay with him. And like I told him, I says, yes, all of that is taking place. But what you're not hearing is that she's got a mouth like a sailor when somebody doesn't take a hint. Okay, no offense to sailors. Okay, when you look at your life and you go, what am I content with? If you're not content with it, it doesn't matter how small it is. Okay, make a change. Doesn't even matter what you make it to. This book I was referring to. Okay. This one here. Believe in yourself and follow your dreams. Okay. Lays out step by step the way to do it, and I do believe Yldrbac, and don't ask me when. Okay. I'm pretty certain I did a video on this book anyway. but it lays out the real simple steps to it. Because I'm a firm believer, I was taught a method when I was growing up, when I was still in school, and it was an acronym. Okay, now it literally translates into it literally is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay, I prefer the one that says keep it simple, silly. Okay, because the reality is, the easier something is to do, the more likely you are to do it. And personally, I'm lazy. You wouldn't know that by me writing 32 books at the same time, but hey, that's because my mind doesn't shut up. And like, I'm pretty certain I've been up, well, we're at, 8:30, quarter to 9 at this point. And I'm pretty certain that I was up at about 4 o'clock this morning. So you get an idea, you start changing things, even if all it is clearing off a counter. Like if you take a look around your office, around your immediate work area, whatever's around you, pick 3 things that you're not content with. Doesn't matter how little they are or how big. Okay. But you start making changes. There's an old African proverb that goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay, and what that boils down to is if you've got a huge project ahead of you, take it one step at a time. Every little bit helps. Okay, if you think about it, you drop a house. We're having natural disasters take place, and unfortunately, right now, some of them are very man-made. Those aren't natural, unless you talk to the drow. At which point, of course, he died of natural causes because, well, naturally, you die with a dagger in your back, which is very true, or a dagger in your heart, which is true, and you're going to have to pardon that one. Well, you don't have to. I'm a gamer. I've been gaming, like I said, since '76. And with that in mind, I've got a bit of a different outlook, especially when you realize that when it comes to past lives, I remember mine. Okay, many of them, I've had them confirmed time and again by other people that didn't know me to start with. Okay, we've just connected on different levels, but you take a look in the mirror, ask yourself, are you content? Like yesterday, you'll notice that I had a full beard. Well, I removed the beard this morning because I didn't desire it. Now, my other half, I told her flat out, I will, she doesn't live in town here, so that's going to be a bit yet. And at this point, it's still simply a hope that she gets up here. Because I'm a firm believer, you live for, you plan for the best. Okay, you brace for the worst, but you live for the moment. But you do it one step at a time. And the first thing you have to look at, if you're turning your life around, finances unfortunately play absolute havoc. Okay. Now, the reality is finances, they are simply the backbone of the house. They are not the backbone of your life, but they are necessary. The backbone of a home is the relationship in it. Okay. If you want to take the room, I'd have to say it's a combination of living room, dining room, and kitchen. But don't forget the bathroom. You're going to need that one sooner or later. But get the energy running properly. Now, Feng Shui works quite nicely. Okay. In Western society, it's not a question of north, south, east, west, because that gets all turned around because of the way civilization is built. But the principle, get your money stuff put in one place. Okay. Get a section that you're calling your family memoriam, if you will. Okay, that's where you put your pictures of the family. And it doesn't have to be a big mausoleum. Okay, you may have a real pension to yourself for for worship, for your religious practices. Pick a section of your house where that is where you do it. So the energy stays focused. You will find the more focused the energy is, the easier things run. The healthier you are, the happier you are, the less stressful you are, the better off you're going to be. That will affect everything from your energy levels to your temperament. And before I do that, I'd best be taking. I got carried away yesterday, and I really have to pay attention to that. Okay, so you take your home and you organize it. It doesn't matter how big it is. It can be a one-room bachelor suite. Okay, that you're living in. The same thing applies. Pick one section in the house where you focus your financial concentration, as in where you work on your finances, where you make things happen. Okay, pick one place for your family. For your family section. One place. Now, bear in mind, family is not just bloodline. Okay, family is the people you choose to call family. Most of the time, that means bloodline, but not always. Now, one of the things that I discovered when my brother passed, one of the messages that he made very clear, I did not make time to spend with my eldest brother, my mother, or my father. Right, the other brother, well, I did, but then he dropped into a coma, and he couldn't communicate at all, and the communication he could do, I could do over a distance. But with my eldest brother that just passed, my mom and my dad, I did not make the time to really get to understand them, to spend any time with them, to share time with them. Now, do I regret it? Absolutely. Can I do anything about it? No. But I can do something about the two brothers that I've still got. One of which I've had a problem with all my life. But if there's one thing my eldest brother pointed out, and this is a very important message for all of you, especially if you've got family members, whether they're younger than you or older. Okay. But if you've got people that you've lost contact with because of a complication, it's time to forgive the past. It's time to let go of it and focus on the positive memories that come with it, because clearly there are positive things that have happened. Now, I'm a firm believer that 95% of people on this planet are decent people, striving to do decent things. But the social media, the rants that come out on social media, the complaints that come out, the mainstream media reports are 90%, and that might be a little overstated, but probably not much, are, massive majority are of the negative things. Okay, as my father used to put it takes a lifetime to build trust. It takes a heartbeat to destroy it. Okay, well, what that boils down to, I mean, the other axiom that goes with it is it only takes one apple to spoil a whole barrel. What it means is if you focus on the negative things, that's all you're going to see in life, and that will depress you, that will bring your energy levels down, and has decidedly negative impact on your health. It will also have negative impacts on the people around you. Because you notice the people that gather together in groups, on the whole, are the ones that are laughing, are joking, are communicating, are interacting on a positive level. They are not the ones that are depressed and looking down on the ground all the time. Okay. You end up with groups of people that are so caught up in the negative side, or individuals really that are so caught up in the negative side. You put them all in the same room, they're still alone. They still sit quietly by themselves without communicating with anybody. Now, can they be helped? Absolutely. But they can only be helped if they desire to help themselves. Okay, that's just the reality of it. Okay, so from your standpoint, it's time to put the negative past to rest. It is time to start working with each other in order to make this world a better world for most people. Now, I came back to this lifetime for one reason, one primary reason, and that is simply to pass on a message. Working together, we can make this a better world for most people. But that requires your assistance as well, because I'm not the only one going to do it. Okay. Now, I'm very pleased with the way these videos are going. I'm getting, myself, I find that if I don't do one, I feel like I miss something. Okay. I have now broken the 200 viewers, or subscribers rather, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny number. But now I'm aiming for the next high, for the next number. Now I'm aiming for 250. Because the more people I can reach, and understand, I only reach, what, about between Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, I reach maybe, I think 3,000 people, but bear in mind, some of those are overlaps. Some people are following me on all three. So I really don't know how many are reaching, but I do know that every time I reach somebody, there's a cascade effect. Which is why one of the things I'll be doing today is digging out my plans for a healing center. Now, I'm pretty much as broke as I can get. Okay, I'm getting in better shape. But it's time to start making that a reality as well. Okay, same as with the writings. I've got figures. I've got about 400 of the figures I've showed you before. Okay, and I'm starting to pick out ones that are representative of characters in the Yldrbacian Chronicles. Okay, I am really pleased to announce the artist that I've got working on the Races of the Worlds has come through again, and we've got another five pictures to add to the Races of the Worlds. Okay, so again, things are expanding. And from my standpoint, I've got a whole list of little things that I'm aiming at getting accomplished, but I keep breaking them down so I can get them to smaller and smaller pieces and thereby get them done. Now, it is up to you. You know, there are a number of things that are up to you as to how to go about them. Okay, so with that in mind, absolutely work together. You're not going to likely be able to do it on your own. Most people are missing in some area. Okay. However, I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts below. If there's a topic you'd like me to jump ahead to or cover, drop me a note in the comments below, or absolutely drop me a line in any one of the contact points below this video, and I will do my best to respond and get back to you. Okay, one of the other things I'm working on today is a list of different topics to get ahead of myself so I can actually start dealing with things in a little more organized fashion. There's one thing that I was taught very clearly by my eldest brother, was that being organized is the way to make things happen in a convenient fashion. But my other older brother, the past, made it very clear you have to follow your heart. You've got to have something that gets you here. Okay. And as it was put by a mentor of mine, when your heart and your head are in conflict, follow your heart, but use your head to get there. Okay. These are all combinations of things that work. Now, I'm going to leave you go until tomorrow. Okay. I will be back tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.